Hi guys, my name is Miss Julie and I am the teen librarian here at the Florence County Library, and today I am doing another First Chapter Friday, and today's book is Blanca and Roja by Anna Marie McLemore. It is published by Fruel and Friends, which is a imprint of Macmillan Publishing, and I have to thank them for allowing me to read the book. Snow White said, "We will never leave each other." Rose Red answered, "Not as long as we live." And the mother added, "Whatever one has she must share with the other." The brothers Grimm, Snow White and Rose Red. "Fly out into the world," said the queen. "Fly like great birds who have no voice." Hans Christian Andersen, The Wild Swans. Part 1, October Boys. Roja. Everyone has their own way of telling our story. Some say it began generations ago, with a girl lured by the white birds in the woods. The moment she reached out a small hand towards their wind-fluffed feathers, a swan bit her, poisoning her blood. Others say it started with a flock of swans gliding over our great-great-great-great-grandmother's house. They flew overhead at just the right moment to hear her cursing her own family's blood. So the swans cursed her, and all her daughters after her. Some insist it was two sisters, squabbling for years over who was more beautiful. A bevy of swans in a nearby pond grew so weary of all the noise and struck them with a spell that would take one of each of their daughters. Their worst one tells it this way. Once, a Delscisne woman, probably one of our great-great-great-grandmothers, stole a groom from his bride on their wedding day. The bride's family hated our Bisabella and her name so deeply that they cursed her brown skin and her dark hair to become white feathers, and for the same fate to befell a Delscisne daughter every generation after. These are the stories they tell, tales of winter storms or spiteful witches. Because when there is a family in which one of every two daughters grows an ink-black bill and a pale feathered neck and snow-bright wings, people like to think they know why. Few think to ask us. This is the story that we believe is to be true. A mother once raised her daughter among swans, hoping they would teach her grace and beauty. And this daughter, with the swans for her sisters, grew lovely in both appearance and manner. When she married, she bore only sons, 3 and then 5 and then 10 sons. And though she loved her sons, she wanted a daughter so that she too could raise a girl with the grace of swans. So she went to the swans she had once called her sisters. "Please," she told them, "all I want is a daughter." "We will give you better than one. You will have 2, they said, with a magnanimous bow of their neck. "There will always be 2 daughters, but we will always take one back." "Which will you take?" the woman asked. They lowered their wings. "That will be for us to decide." There may be as many versions of the story as there are daughters our family has lost to it, but this is the one my sister and I know. A woman wanting something so badly she did not understand the weight of the swan's pronouncement. There will always be 2 daughters, but we will always take one back. The swans would not just take one of the woman's daughters, but one of her daughter's daughters, and one of her daughters, and one of hers. There will always be one daughter taken, and one left watching the sky in winter, wondering if it's a far-off flick of white was a coming snow or her lost sister. Even when there were sons, there were always daughters alongside them, 2 sisters, whether they had brothers or not. Always 2, always enough that the swans could take one and leave one behind the other. My bisabuela had already raised 3 sons. Sure, she was too old for more children when her daughters arrived. My great-great-aunt, intent on having 1 child, delivered, to her surprise, twin daughters. My second cousin thought she had defied the swans by having a single son and a single daughter, until the child thought to be a boy declared herself as the girl she had always been. The way our aunt and our great-aunts tell it, Our family never knows which daughter the Swans will take, but I've always known it will be me. If I wanted to, I could believe everything was decided when we were born, but I've always known it earlier than that. It was not just because of the colors of the girls are decided before they're born. There's something I know that to be true. What I believe instead is that, in the moments of my sister and me becoming our own little lives, it was already written into us. In the wisp of blood and not yet breath that was Blanca before she was born, there was already the beginnings of how her hair would grow as gold as October leaves. Her eyes would be brown, the same as the rest of us, and that was something our mother would consider a great misfortune. But they were a brown as light as acacia honey, like amber, a brown that could be forgiven. A few months after Blanca was born, I was a new wisp of blood and not yet breath. My own colors were always waiting. By then, Blanca had grown a crown of hair as fine and blonde as a duckling's down. Her tiny hands patted the growing round of my mother's belly, where I was slowly becoming. While my sister had a face as fair as the almonds my mother Blanche used fall, mine would turn out to be as brown as the almond skin, dark and delicate, that my mother swept off the counter. I would have eyes and hair as dark as the coffee grounds my father spread over his roses in winter. My hair grew not only dark as those coffee grounds, but red. Not the copper or strawberry of green-eyed girls, but deep red, a red so dark it looked wet. It was a red that wouldn't take dye, not even the black walnut the senoras gave my mother. Blood-soaked hair, they called it, my mother shuddering at the words, my father saying them back with as much pride as if they were a new knife, fine and just sharpened. My father counted it as a point of pride that he named me for it, setting his hand on my small forehead and declaring me Roja, while my mother slept off a birth fever. The kind of birth fever the senoras reminded me on my birthday every year that Blanca hadn't given her. If I wanted to, I could believe it was our colors that decided Blanca would be the gentle sister, pure and obliging, and I wouldn't be the cruel one, wicked and difficult. She would be the blessed daughter, the one the Swans would spare, and I would be the one the Swans would take. But my sister saw our story ending another way. Again, that is Blanca and Roja by Anna Marie McLemore. If you are interested in what is happening for teens here at the library, please follow us on Instagram at FlowTeenscape, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!